Have you felt stuck in your mind? Have you felt trapped, not sure which direction to go? Seeking answers? Stay with me. I'll be right back. Earlier this week, I got stuck in my mind. I was trapped. I was overthinking. And perhaps you're feeling that. You're feeling stuck. You're not feeling the flow. Let's talk about it. I want to talk about this: cultivate conscious moments. I have two poems for you. I may have some bonus stuff for you today. I want you to dial into this very moment. It's tough with the mind is constantly moving. I was just talking about it on the other live stream I have here. The mind is constantly, obsessively thinking, analyzing. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was at the Rodin Museum in Philadelphia, and the Rodin is the great sculptor. And in the very front, when you walk down Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia, you see the Rodin Museum, this beautiful, beautiful building, archways, gate, big, looks like an iron gate. And in the very front, sitting in the very front, is the thinker, the statue of the thinker. Did you ever see the statue of the thinker? Well, there's one in Philadelphia at the Rodin Museum. And I walked up to it. I thought, man, every time I look at that, then I think the overthinker. Oh, Cody. So we have Cody follows on the TikTok stream, and he's saying, I've been to the Rodin Museum in Paris, his old house. Wow. And it's interesting, not that I'll just share this because I was in Philadelphia yesterday, and I wish maybe I can pull that photo up here on the YouTube. I might be able to pull it up. But what's interesting is that in Philadelphia, when they built the Ben Franklin Parkway, which runs up to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, forgive my French, but they modeled it. They wanted it to model it after the Champs-Élysées in France, in Paris. And it's still beautiful. It's not as rich in history and depth and texture as France, but it's still a beautiful place with a broad open parkway and the flags blowing in the wind and the lights, and the Rodin Museum and the Barnes Foundation leading up to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. But let's talk about it today. Let me get what did I want to share with you first? Let's talk about this being trapped in the mind, the overthinking that plagues so many of us. We think we know what we want. We feel, then all of a sudden we're off track. How many of you started a project? Philadelphia Freedom. All right. We got somebody on here saying Philadelphia Freedom. Not a bad accent at all. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've been going through this book. It's called A Year with Rumi by Coleman Barks. And I just want to give a shout out to Coleman Barks. He doesn't get enough credit but he's the one that translated Rumi almost intuitively because he didn't know the language. But this book is great. Let me read today's thing. And I wasn't planning on sharing this, but after I read it, some of these poems that I read are so spot on to what I want to share. So let's talk about being stuck in the mind. Let's talk about we're not able to progress. Let's dive into this. April 27th. It's called The Sight of a Soul. And then after that, I have a poem that I wrote, which I think is going to touch you as well. One of the marvels of the world is the sight of a soul sitting in prison with the key in its hand. Covered with dust, with a cleansing waterfall an inch away. A young man rolls from side to side, though the bed is comfortable and a pillow holds his head. He has a living master, yet he wants more, and there is more. If a prisoner had not lived outside, he would not detest the dungeon. Desiring knows there is a satisfaction beyond this, a satisfaction beyond this. Straying maps the path. A secret freedom opens through a crevice you can barely see. A secret freedom opens through a crevice you can barely see. Awareness a wine drinker wants cannot be tasted in wine, but the failure brings his deep thirst closer. Very profound poem. That's why I shared it today. Very profound. I'm not going to interpret the entire poem would take quite some time, but let's just talk about it. One of the marvels of the world is the sight of a soul sitting with the key in its hand. How aware are we that we hold the key? We've heard the words. We know that it may sound cliche, but think about it. Covered with dust, a cleansing waterfall an inch away. And what I liken this to, the intelligence that's in me and you, the ability to set an intention today in this very moment. This very moment. The waterfall, and this is my interpretation, the waterfall, you may be sitting in dust. You're stuck. You're not sure what to do with your life. But an inch away is a waterfall. The waterfall is your ability to set a pure intention that is void of the affliction of overthinking. Here's the word of the day, assail. You will be assailed by a barrage of thoughts today. What will you do? Will you be reactionary? Will you allow them to drive your day just like it did yesterday? Or will you pause? Will you stop the insanity? Let's keep going. A young man rolls from side to side. Basically, you can't get comfortable. You're in a comfortable bed, but you can't get comfortable. He has a living master, yet he wants more. The living master is our ability to be in this moment and to grow from this moment, not to get to the future moment. I was afflicted with the disease, dis-ease, get to the future at all costs. Serve other people at all costs. No. Grow from this moment. But here's the juxtaposition. If a prisoner had not lived outside, he would not detest the dungeon. That's deep. When have you experienced liberation in your life? When have you felt the pure exaltation, enthusiastic energy of liberation? He has a living master, yet he wants more. Covered with dust, a cleansing waterfall, inches away. I'm going to pause for a moment. If you're on TikTok, I have a YouTube account, Austin James Haynes. I just want to encourage you to go over there. This is being recorded over there. You can see the full episode when you have time. I know some people are popping in and out. I appreciate you being here. We're going to cultivate conscious moments together. We're going to continue, but I just want to make sure you know, I worked for a corporation for 19 years, And then I quit. I thought I was going one direction, but universe, divine source had other plans for me. Poetry found me, and it's completely, radically transformed my life. And I want to share it with you. So, a secret freedom opens through a crevice you can barely see. The masses will live a life today, and this moment will go undetected. But not you, not here, not now. Because now you're cultivating a moment where you're awake. And one conscious moment can radically change your life when you're aware. And I wrote a couple, I'm actually going to share with you a couple things now. So let me just finish this up. Awareness, the wine drinker, the person who's using alcohol to get to this awareness. He says, the awareness a wine drinker wants cannot be tasted in wine, but the failure brings his deep thirst closer. And this is why it says, do not live in the middle. Because even if you are going down, you embrace it to the point where it must transmute itself. But it only happens through a conscious moment. If you are trapped in the identity of the thought process, you're not free. There's a separation that's happening here, a juxtaposition, a perspective change that you are not your thoughts. The thoughts you weave can create your life and your world, but you still are not your thoughts. There is something that is untouchable inside of you. Your goal is to touch that. And when you touch that, you're changed. I have to sneeze. You don't have to sneeze. I don't have to do anything. See that? Okay. This brought way to another poem. God bless you. God bless you, Ghost. So I wasn't planning on sharing this one. Is this the one I was going to share? Wait, yeah. Let me read this one first. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know your life? Okay. Do you know? Who are you? What shall you do? Where shall you go? How will you show? When will things flow? Ah, but why? Discover your why through what makes you feel. What makes you cry? Discover your why before you die. Discover your why before you die. What makes you feel? What makes you cry? This is just a random writing, but I'm going to share it. If your soul was a hurricane, it would blow down the house of what you think you know. You would never be the same again. But oh, the soul only knows whispers. Stop. Listen with receiving ears so you truly hear. Stop. Listen with receiving ears. If your soul was a hurricane, It would blow down the house of what you think you know. You would never be the same again. But oh, the soul only knows whispers. Stop. Listen. Hear with receiving ears. That's a random writing. Let me know if you think I should put that in a book. I'm working on my first poetry book. Some of these are just really intuitive in the moment. My poems are experiential. They're mostly experiential poems. They're not a direct biography, although some of them have some autobiographical themes in them. Some of them are autobiographical. I'm looking at print that. Thank you, Cody. I'm thinking of doing 2 poetry books because I have a copyright on Seeds of Infinitude, and but I also have these rhythmic poems. So I'm evolving into more free verse, but I like rhythm too. So I like both. So I'm just working that out. But somebody asked a question on here. Do you think introspection is a conscious choice? Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes. I'm going to give you the definition of cultivate conscious moment, what that is, and what it could mean for you. And then we'll talk about, is it a choice? Cultivate, prepare, and think of gardening. You think of cultivate, gardening, to try to acquire or develop. Think of the word develop, cultivate, just like in gardening. Conscious, aware of and responding to one's surroundings. Awake. But then it also says having knowledge of something, aware. And then it also goes on to say painfully aware or sensitive to. So think about that. Think about that. Sensitive to touch, the ability to be conscious or awake. And then, of course, a moment is a very brief period of time. So think about a moment. It's a very brief period of time. And think about this. Back to the Rumi poem. A secret freedom opens through a crevice you can barely see. You see that corollary? A moment is a very brief period of time. A secret freedom opens through a crevice you can barely see. It's not far away. You're inches away from a waterfall. Inches. So you cultivate conscious moment. Now, you can choose this. You can choose introspection. But what happens more often than not, and it may happen in varying degrees. This is a dance. I don't have all the answers. I offer perspective. Something happens in our lives that turns it upside down. And thank you for the hearts. Really appreciate that. Thank you. I'll give you a shout out to that. Thank you. My vocabulary is growing. I work on it every day. And I don't do this to impress people. It's to give more perspective. Words can lend perspective. Words evoke things inside of us. And the intention is to feed the heart and soul, to evoke something in you that's maybe dormant right now. But you choose, so through a tragedy, it forces people into introspection. And we can't prevent tragedies from our lives, but if we can grow conscious, there's varying degrees of this. If we can just be aware now, we can open the door. We can spot the crevice. We can spot the thing that most of the world's going to miss. And something new can open up in us. You grew up with a dictionary at the dinner table. Wow, I did not. Unfortunately, my dad came from a farming family. He was a truck driver, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. Both of them did not have college degrees, nor do I. I'm a college dropout, but I'm a lifelong learner. Big difference. I'm a lifelong learner. So I'm going to end this. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for jumping on here. You can type in your final thoughts, comments. I'm on YouTube. Um, there's a bunch of, if you like poetry, and I also create cinematic poetry. I take my poems and other people's poems, and yeah, Jesus was not a college graduate either, right? So exactly. And so um, let me go back to, I create these cinematic. Take the poetry, I put it with a cinematic piece. They're on reels. You can go to YouTube and check that out. And I think you'll enjoy them. And there's not just my poems. I pull poems from all different people because different poems evoke different things. Because what you crave is, whether you know it or not, you want authenticity. You want things that are real in your life, and the world wants that now. We just don't know it. We're not fully aware of it, but we want authenticity. We want what touches us. We want what makes us feel. And write some music. I have an opportunity to do that. There's someone who I connected with that I'm supposed to write a song for, but I might just start writing my own songs. I'm not going to let anything stop me. But if you want to, I'm really looking to grow now and expand. I've been doing this for a long time. It's been evolving over time in ways that I can't fully comprehend. I want to be the pen in the divine's hand. And that's a lot of times the poems come like that. They just come out. We are all author, Cody. That's a great Cody. We are all authors of our own books. So let me just share it. I'm going to give you an update. Mandy, I see you on here. I'm going to grab your comments here. And what I want to share is I'm going to do this till the end of the month. So it's April 27th. It's National Poetry Month. And then I'm going to decide. I might move this to a weekly show because I think it's going to be a little bit more. I'll create the reels during the week so you can watch the reels of what I'm creating and where I'm going and where I'm traveling to. I'm going to be in London. I'm trying to go to Ireland. But I want you to follow along. I want us to feed your heart and soul. But if you go to YouTube at Austin James Haynes and just follow that, but check out the videos first. Make sure you like it. If you like it, follow. If this served you today, follow, like do something. Just it helps a lot. It helps a great deal. So Mandy is a poet out of Canada. She wrote a book called Catalyst Poetry, and she's working on her next poetry book. She says, big difference, lifelong learner. She's coming in on YouTube. Yeah, there's a big difference from being college educated or a lifelong learner. Now, if you have both, that's great. But sometimes there's this freedom when you're outside of academia, and because when you're in academia, you can also lose the authenticity. You gotta dial into you. You gotta find your edge, find the edge in you. Go to the edge, find the edge. Stay in alignment though. Don't lose yourself because you're trying to prove something to somebody else. You've got to stay connected here, regardless of other people's opinions. Freedom is within. And Mandy's saying, write your own story. So thank you for blessing me with your presence this morning. My name's Austin James Haynes. This is Cultivate Conscious Moments. Feed your heart and soul with seeds of infinitude. And I got to get that. I have to get the graphic on that. Seeds of infinitude. So Cody, I just appreciate you being here. Ghost, Kay, I see you on here today. Mandy, thank you for being here today. I got the sound effects now. Now I'm dangerous. I got these sound effects. So I'm going to end the YouTube. Your second book is on Amazon. What's the name of it? Go ahead, Mandy. Put the name of your book in. I'll give it a quick shout out here before we end it. I forget the name of your book. I can see the cover kind of. What? I'm not always positive, Ghost. I have my moments, but when you falter, the faltering could be the moment of your next conscious awareness. Challenge, Rise, Triumph. That's the name of Mandy Robinson's book. It's on Amazon. Challenge, Rise, Triumph. My book's called Seeds of Infinitude, and that's coming out. So I'm going to end the YouTube. I'll be live on TikTok for a couple minutes, get some final shares, and have a great day. So I'm going to run this till the end of the month, every day till the end of the month. And in around 8:15, I'll post it. Today was a little later on YouTube, but I'm glad you're here. So God bless everyone. Cultivate conscious moments in your own life. Feed your heart and soul. This is our life. Let's live it. Have a great day.